Coming up on this episode of the Locked On Bucs podcast, are the Bills no longer who we thought they were? What are some of the playoff scenarios for the Buccaneers to be able to clinch their spot in the dance this weekend? And Evan Closky of 10 Tampa Bay is going to drop his Week 14 predictions. All that and more on this episode of the Locked On Bucs podcast. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Buccaneers, your daily Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to the Locked On Bucs podcast, free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, thanks to people like our friends at On Location. On Location, the official hospitality partner of the NFL, is the only place to score a once-in-a-lifetime Super Bowl ticket and experience package. Visit onlocationexp.com/SB56 for more information, or search Super Bowl On Location. I am James Yarko, joined as I am every Wednesday by Evan Closky of 10 Tampa Bay. You can check out everything that I'm doing over at BucsNation.com. Make sure you're following along on Twitter at LockedOnBucs, at JYarko_Bucs, at eClosky WTSP, and at Bucs_Nation. Evan, long time no see. It's been approximately a week. I have no more insults about college football to hurl your way, so you can sit back, relax, be comfortable in that situation. That I'm not going to bring any of that up. But I
just brought it up.
But I didn't mention any names.
Okay.
No names at all.
Semantics.
No results. No nothing. Other than the fact that they should realign the divisions in the Big Ten, because it's a complete and total joke. Anyway, we do have a certain playoff that we are going to talk about, and that is the NFL playoffs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have an opportunity to clinch their first NFC South crown since 2007 this weekend, or they can clinch just a playoff spot. They can get a berth, but they can't do it by themselves. Right now, the current situations are that the Buccaneers can clinch the NFC South with a win, plus a Carolina loss at home against the Atlanta Falcons, and a New Orleans Saints loss or tie on the road against the New York Jets. As far as a playoff berth is concerned, the Buccaneers can tie their game and get in with a Carolina loss, a New Orleans loss, as well as a Minnesota loss at home against the Steelers, a 49ers loss or tie at Cincinnati, and a Washington football team loss or tie at home versus the Cowboys. So the question to you, good sir, is, will there be some NFC South champion merch dropping after Sunday?
No.
And it's because of the Jets, right?
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of things that need to happen. And not to mention, as I said last week, you remember my story arc here, right? Mm-hmm. Is that they're going to win. If it wasn't for a silly pick six, it would have been extremely decisive. And, more people, I think, would be talking about that, except, instead of talking about the Bucs, they're actually talking about the Bills not being the Patriots, and the Patriots have the storylines. So my narrative was a little bit thrown off based on Monday Night Football. But, I'm leaning Bills in this matchup. It's only the second time I'm picking against the Bucs. I told you I was going to do it last week, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to follow through on my word. So I actually don't think the Bucs win this week. And people are going to, everyone's down on the Bills. People are going to be up on the Bills. Everyone's up on the Bucs. People are going to be down on the Bucs. And then the Bucs are going to just wipe the floor with the Saints the following weekend, and that's when they should clinch the NFC South when they're on Sunday Night Football.
Now, we're going to get into the Bills in a minute, because I'm interested to hear. I mean, I wasn't going to hold you to that picking the Bills prediction that you said was going to come. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more in segment 2. But it's interesting to hear you say that, you're going to stick with the Bills, because we're going to dive into how they played. But as far as the Bucs are concerned, I wrote in my pick 6 for Bucs Nation, it's not out of the question that this scenario happens this weekend and the Buccaneers clinch the NFC South, because I do think that they can and will beat the Buffalo Bills. And the big hangup to me in this scenario is the New Orleans Saints going up against the New York Jets. The New York Jets absolutely stink, but
Terrible.
the New Orleans Saints haven't won a game since Halloween. They have nobody at quarterback. The defense is still fine, but it almost looks like they're a team in a full-blown free fall, in shambles. And with as wacky of an NFL season as we've had, where we've seen some of these crazy, ridiculous upsets and things that nobody thought could happen actually happening, it's not crazy to think that the New York Jets could beat the New Orleans Saints at home, especially if they end up, I don't know the weather conditions, but if they end up in a game like we saw on Monday Night Football, it could be real interesting, especially if Alvin Kamara isn't back yet, because Mark Ingram is not getting the job done. So the New Orleans Saints are an interesting team right now, and obviously that's the Buccaneers' next opponent. Hopefully they don't get off the schneid against the Bucs, but it's feasible in my opinion.
The Jets aren't winning. As somebody who grew up a Jets fan, I can tell you it ain't pretty. So despite the fact that, yes, the Saints are a flawed team, the Buccaneers are going to take care of business next weekend against them. I don't see the Saints losing that game, which is going to, even if I'm wrong in my prediction that the Bucs lose, I don't think they're going to get it done, just because I don't think those other two losses are going to happen. I think they're just going to have to wait one more week to collect the hats. And I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
It's like you come off a Super Bowl and you forget that they were not the division champs, right? It's crazy that what they did and running the table on the road. So that's going to be a special moment for this franchise when it happens.
Yeah, and Greg Allman pointed out on Twitter, and I remember the game vividly, Super Bowl notwithstanding, because that really shouldn't count as a home playoff game. The last home playoff game that the Buccaneers had was that year that they won the NFC South in 2007. They hosted the New York Giants at home, who beat Tampa Bay and would go on to beat the undefeated New England Patriots in that Super Bowl. So it's been a long time since there's been an official Buccaneers
time is a flat circle, because weren't the Giants the last team to run the table on the road to a Super Bowl victory?
I believe they were, and I think it was that year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because there was Eli Brady too.
Yeah. The Mario Manningham touchdown, the first down, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. Brady probably does not enjoy remembering that game, but that is neither here nor there. Now, there are plenty of amazing Super Bowl moments and Super Bowl memories and plays that will live in infamy forever. And if any of our watchers or listeners want to be part of that kind of amazing experience, they need to check out our friends at On Location. Super Bowl 56 is at SoFi in less than 100 days. And On Location, the official hospitality partner of the NFL, is the only place to score a once-in-a-lifetime Super Bowl ticket and experience package. Select your exact seats and choose from elite experiences featuring an exclusive pregame celebration with NFL legends, 5-star LA hotels, and food by the great Wolfgang Puck. Visit onlocation.com/SB56. That's the number 5 and the number 6 for more information, or search Super Bowl On Location. That's onlocation.com/SB56, or search Super Bowl On Location. And if you're lucky enough to grab one of those experiences and you got to sit and hang out, wait in the airport, you can probably avoid some of the horrendous airline food if you pack yourself a couple of Built Bars in your carry-on this holiday season. Grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or even better than a candy bar, Built Bar, filled with so much holiday goodness, rich with decadent flavor, covered in chocolate, but amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, fat, but high in protein. You get the best of both worlds, delicious and healthy. You guys know all the flavors: raspberry mint brownie, cherry, double chocolate, cookies and cream, peanut butter brownie. The list goes on and on. Built Bar gives you that extra fuel you need to bust down those mall doors and battle all the holiday shoppers. Or if you're standing in endless shopping lines, Built Bar can give you that extra something you need to keep you going. If you're friends with Santa like I am, because I'm always on the nice list, you can tell Santa to throw a few Built Bars in those stockings. And look, I'm a big fan now of those marshmallowy flavors. You can take one of those, dip it in your hot cocoa. Mwah, delicious. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you are going to get 15% off your order. Again, promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Segment 2 here of the Locked On Bucs podcast, and we thank you for making Locked On Bucs your first listen or first watch every day. Evan, let's dive into this Monday Night Football game a little bit, previewing the Buccaneers' upcoming opponent, Buffalo Bills. You got Josh Allen, you got Stephon Diggs, you have an offensive line that, the only team in the NFL that has allowed fewer sacks than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the Buffalo Bills. Guys can't get to Josh Allen. If they do get to Josh Allen, he's escaping the pressure. He's making plays with his legs, but they lose at home on Monday Night Football, 14-10. They allowed over 200 rushing yards, which some media members may or may not have asked about that after the game, and some Buffalo Bills players may or may not have taken that extremely personally and gotten very upset.
Well, I will say the framing of the question,
it was rough.
It was a leading question for you lawyers out there.
Yeah, it was. It could have been done in a much better fashion.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, the quarterback of the New England Patriots, 2 of 3 for 19 yards. May God have mercy on you if you started him in fantasy football.
Big Ten football, baby. Let's go.
Right. Also, no Tre'Davious White, who's a big part of their defense. So let's kick things over to you here for a moment. What about this Bills team, given the struggles that we've seen them have this year, because they're very much a roller coaster kind of team?
Yeah.
What is it about the Bills matchup with the Buccaneers that makes you lean towards the Bills this weekend?
Well, I understand that the Bucs are actually probably the healthiest they've been in the secondary, but it's been an issue. It's been a big issue. And if there's one thing that the Buffalo Bills can do, that is throw the rock. So, it has been a very up and down year. And what's really funny is if you just follow the trend since week 6, they've gone loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So, just if I'm just reading that right, it's time for a win for them. So they're predictable in their unpredictability. But ultimately, I think they will be able to throw the rock against the Bucs. I think that's going to be a problem for them. You mentioned the offensive line. You mentioned the ability for Josh Allen to get outside the pocket. The Bucs have at times struggled to get sacks. Now, recently that has not been an issue, but it has been something that, as we've tracked. So I just feel like, and you bring up the game against the Patriots, I don't know how much I can read into that game. It was ridiculous winds, snow, freezing cold. As you mentioned, a quarterback only threw it 3 times. It was just running versus running. And in that game, that's a game built for the Patriots and a team that didn't make mistakes, which the Patriots, they stayed the course, were able to get it done because they have a tremendous red zone defense. So I think that the Bills will be able to put up points on the Bucs, and even without White for the Bills, which is for sure a huge loss to that secondary and that team as a whole in their passing defense, I do not believe the Buccaneers are going to be slinging the rock like they normally do against most foes. So that means they are going to have to rely a little bit more on Lenny, which is not a bad thing since, by the way, Comet Leonard is going to be doing its thing this weekend. So as I said on 10 Tampa Bay today, or yesterday for all you listening, even outer space is jumping on the Leonard Fournette nickname bandwagon. So it just, on paper, it's not the most ideal matchup for the Buccaneers, and it just smells like Tampa Bay is going to get Buffalo's best shot. I think they're a team that needs to prove to themselves that they are worthy of a Super Bowl appearance, or that they feel like they're a Super Bowl team. So they're going to put everything they have into this game, since they pretty much threw out the game plan last week. So whatever they were planning to do didn't matter. So they got a couple of weeks of plays in them now. And with the Bucs, I think this is just going to be a classic case of them needing to rise to the occasion. Things have been going well for them. They have taken care of business now on the road, and they got right against the Giants at home. They feel like they're safe at home. They're not going to lose at home. I think this might be the wake-up call of, hey, we need to elevate our game to that final level down this stretch run. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, and I think that the Bills are going to come on top. And, we never would have thought that the Washington football team was going to beat the Buccaneers, and now look at them. That was the start of something special for them. So that's pretty much my reasoning. I could be very wrong. It's very risky to go against the Buccaneers at home. I'm well aware. But as you mentioned in that playoff scenario in our last segment, this game ultimately does not matter in the grand scheme of things. It does and it does not. You're very close to the Cardinals and the Packers. I get it. You can't take another L and fall another game behind Arizona and Green Bay. Having said that, if you are going to lose a game, which even those other two teams, I don't think they're going to run the table the rest of the way. If you're going to lose a game, you'd rather lose a game out of conference where it's not going to affect the tie-breaking scenarios, whatever else you have going on. And again, it's been since 2007, since they've won a division. You're looking at a divisional title next weekend on Sunday Night Football against a foe you have to beat. It's yours. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be a little distracted, even though the Saints aren't that good of a team anymore. I think they know what's ahead of them, and they're not going to pack their best punch against the Bills. And this is sort of the give and take you have with the NFL, where every week isn't the end-all, be-all. It's just not. So if you have to be a little bit strategic, I think this is sort of that area where, you can kind of let it be free. The only thing, the last caveat I'll say is that the Bucs could totally come out and want to prove to themselves that they are a Super Bowl winning team. And this is the matchup to prove it, as far as confidence moving forward, because this is really their last tough opponent. Everybody else is a cupcake until the playoffs. So this is sort of their tune-up for the playoffs, if you will, preparing for what's coming down the chute, because this team has not done remarkably well against better competition. They haven't played a lot of games against good teams, but now that the Washington football team is kind of surging, they lost to the Rams. They lost to the Washington football team. We like what they did against the Colts. Even though predicted a win, that Colts game, certainly everything went in their favor. It took a lot of turnovers. It took a lot of things to go, turn around to make that win happen. Cowboys week 1, that feels like ages ago. But, the rest of the way is Saints, Panthers, Jets, Panthers. So this is it. I mean, this is a playoff game. So it's time to turn it on.
Yeah, well, you rewind the clock to last year. The last regular season game that they had against a playoff caliber opponent was that loss to the Chiefs. After that, they pretty much had a run of cupcakes, went 4-0, and then went 4-0 in the playoffs. So a loss here won't be the end of the world. Real quick, a couple of things that I'll touch on. You mentioned the Bills, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. for those fantasy people out there, and I realize fantasy football and real football are two very different things, but they can tell a little bit of a story. Josh Allen, fantasy football's number one quarterback, has only put together back-to-back top 12 weeks one time this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's very up and down. Now, this is the week, according to the pattern, that he should go back up. He was not a quarterback 12, or he wasn't in the top 12 of quarterbacks in week 13. So he should be on the upswing. Like you mentioned, the Bills, they lose, they should swing up. And real quick, I'll point out something that David said on yesterday's episode, that in the first 4 games of the season, the Buccaneers had given up at least 295 passing yards, whereas in the most recent 4 games, they've given up 226, 149, 285, 259. On the flip side of that, the most rushing yards that the Buccaneers gave up in the first 4 games was 76. Over the course of the last 4, 94, 66, 107, 121. So we're seeing kind of a shift now from offenses attacking the secondary to offenses being able to find ways to get the run game going. That's a dangerous thing when you're going up against Josh Allen. But as far as the Bills running backs are concerned, not too scary, but their pass catching options, of course, Stephon Diggs can make you pay every time he's on the field. Cole Beasley is a reliable target. Dawson Knox has come into his own as the tight end. And of course, Emmanuel Sanders is always a deep threat. Even though he really hasn't been utilized over the course of the last 6 or 7 games, that threat is always there. So I'm with you. It's going to be a tight game for sure. So you're leaning Bills. I'm leaning Bucs. If any of our listeners are leaning a little bit harder than one of the two of us, they can put their money where their mouth is with our friends over at betonline.ag. BetOnline has you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, all the way down to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Wrapping things up here on a WTSP Wednesday edition of the Locked On Bucs podcast. James Yarko, Evan Closky on Twitter at @JYarko_Bucs, at @eClosky WTSP. So, Evan, Mr. Buffalo himself.
Mr. Buffalo.
It is that time. Oh, man, why didn't we save our Buffalo Bills conversation about their
this was the week
episode?
This was the week.
You know what? I'm gonna dig out the link. I got to figure out which show it was that you and I went on that tangent.
It's like about a month, like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I am gonna find it and I am gonna repost the link, because if you all want to know the glorious history of the naming of the Buffalo Bills, you need to listen to that segment that Evan and I did. All those, it's been at least 2 months.
Feels like just yesterday,
doesn't it? Though. So, all right, Evan, you have made it clear you are leaning towards the Bills, but there are still some other predictions that you can make that could endear you to some of our listeners who are thinking, "Hey, who is this guy saying that my Buccaneers are going to lose to a Super Bowl caliber team? How dare he?
Who is this ugly dunkaroo?" And what?
We are going to kick things off here with your predictive player of the game. So who is going to be the shining star for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or maybe it's the Buffalo Bills this week?
Yeah, I'm just going to make it Buccaneers. The Buccaneers player of the game, I think, will be Leonard Fournette. I think this is a game where he's hot. You just saw the Bills bend and break with their rushing defense. Even though they were tested a lot, it was a bit quantity over quality outside of a couple of big runs there. So, I don't necessarily think it was an embarrassing performance, but I do believe they are going to need Lenny a little bit more to open things up for Tom Brady and company. So I expect Leonard Fournette to be very active. He's going to run the ball. I think he's going to have options out of the backfield as a receiver. I think, and I got to double check this. I think Lenny's, he's pretty good about having 8 targets. Lenny's coming off a total of 14 combined receptions these last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Fournette is going to have 8 receptions, which would tie a season high. And you're looking at probably 55 yards. So I'll just say 8 receiving yards, 8 receptions, 55 receiving yards on top of what he will do rushing, which should trend in the 50s as well. So I'm looking at like 120 total yards. And if you go back to the Colts game, I think he had 131. So I think when it's all said and done, he will be the premier guy that we're looking at.
Okay, yeah, stay in the flames. Stay in the flames with Buffaleni. Buffaleni. We got at Lenny. We got Lucas Oil Lenny, Lombardi Lenny. The nicknames are just
AT Lenny.
Yeah, AT Lenny.
ATL Lenny.
It's never going to end.
Comet Leonard.
Yeah, it's glorious. I mean, I guess if the Buccaneers can't clinch the South this week and they go on and beat the Saints and Leonard Fournette has another big game, he can be like Dagger Lenny, that he stuck the fork and they're done.
Scepter Lenny.
Yeah, Scepter. Oh, I like that one. So, all right, Evan, what is your bold prediction for this weekend?
My bold prediction is going to be. Oh, I really want to do this because I don't really believe it, but it's bold. You know what? I was originally going to go with Tom Brady, no touchdown passes.
Oh,
so
wow.
I am. I'm not using that, so that means I cannot take credit for it, nor can I be deemed wrong for saying it. It works both ways. I will say that Brady will have 3 turnovers.
Wow.
That's my bold prediction. And that is how the Bills win this game.
Brady has turned the ball over in 6 straight games, 7 of their last 8. Now, if Brady ends up with 3 turnovers and or no touchdowns, you're going to get some very angry texts from me because my fantasy team is not going to be happy with you putting that out in the universe. And
I got him too.
Me. Oh, goodness. All right. Evan,
I'm very strong with my narrative here, right? If I'm going down, I am sinking. Yeah, I am going right to the bottom of the pool. So
you are a man of your convictions. You stand behind yourself, and I am here for it, sir.
That's right.
Dig those heels in, stand strong, and if you're right, you're right. That's how it goes. I picked the Buccaneers to win every game. I'll continue to pick the Buccaneers. Even when they were going like 5-11, I was picking the Buccaneers to win every game. I will continue to do so, but stick to your guns. That's what you're here for. We're not here to
second time. It's only the second time this year that I've done it.
We're here for honesty.
I almost did against the Eagles.
You did. I remember that. What is your score prediction? How much are the Buffalo Bills going to win this one by?
It's going to be a close game. I'm going to go 23-20 Buffalo Bills.
Okay. I will unveil my score prediction on Friday's show. I also have this being a 3-point game. It's going to be tight. It's going to be it's going to raise everyone's blood pressure. There's going to be some upset people on the Twitters, and not that people aren't always upset on the Twitters, even during a win, still very upset people.
Yes.
So there will be some interesting things going on that app, but it's going to be a good one. with that, Evan, we are going to get out of here. Let everyone know what is going on over there at 10 Tampa Bay.
Remember, Sundays, 11:30 in the morning, we air the Blitz on 10 Tampa Bay with our guys, Simeon Rice. It's a fantastic show. Not only do we get you prepared for the game that's coming up, but we also kind of have fun. And, Sim is a multi-talented, multifaceted dude. So he's got an opinion on everything, including fashion, cryptocurrency, whatever it might be of the week. And then also, please hit up 1010bay.com. Not only do we cover the Bucs there, but also we got your Bolts, Rays, which we might not have baseball for a while. So you got your Bolts. And all our other local sports here we're reaching the end of the prep football season as well. So, just stick with us. And remember, this weekend's game is on 10 Tampa Bay. It's on CBS. So We're excited for that. I'm excited to be back in Ray J. It's been a long time. They've been on the road plus a bye for the last 5. I mean, it's been nearly 2 months, and I've been a Ray J like once. So, I'm excited to see this team back in action.
Yeah, I haven't seen if they've released the announcer assignments yet. I can only
it's
assume
it's Romo Nance.
Romo. Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah, it's Romo Nance.
So yeah, make sure you're checking out the Blitz. It's the perfect transition. You watch the Blitz, you go right in to the CBS coverage. Then there's going to be a 1:00 game, and then you're going to go into the Buccaneers game. You never have to change a channel, not one time. We thank everyone for making today's episode of Locked On Bucs podcast their first listen or first watch of the day. But now the second listen needs to be the Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. David will be back tomorrow on Crossover Thursday talking with Dan Marino about the Buffalo Bills. Make sure that you check that out and check out everything David and I are doing over at BucsNation.com. Follow along on Twitter at Locked On Bucs, at JYarko_Bucs, at DHarrison82, at Closky, WTSP, and at Bucs_Nation. Hope you all have an absolutely outstanding day. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, be good to one another. And we thank you so much for joining us right here at Locked On Bucs.